Welcome to Seeds of Wisdom, a place where wisdom grows one seed at a time. How many times have you started something full of excitement, only to quit just a few days later? Maybe you promised yourself you'd start waking up early to work out, learn a new language, read every night, or finally launch that project you've been dreaming about for years. But then life got busy, your mood shifted, and temporary comfort slowly took over. You delayed and eventually gave up. If that sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. Nearly all of us have been there. But today, I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you a consistent person? If you are, congratulations. That's one of the most powerful and valuable qualities a human being can have. And if you're still in the process of building that consistency, that's perfectly okay too. We all start somewhere, and if you're someone who's working every day to become more consistent, drop a number 1 in the comments so I know you're walking this journey with me. Here's the truth. Success doesn't come from raw talent. It's not the result of random luck, and it's definitely not born from a sudden flash of motivation. Real success comes from something that sounds simple, but is incredibly hard to maintain. Consistency. Not showing up once and calling it progress, not starting strong and quitting fast, but showing up every single day, putting in the work even when you don't feel like it, keeping promises to yourself even when no one's watching. And here's the most important thing I want you to remember. Successful people don't always feel motivated. They just take action anyway, because they understand that if they only work when they feel like it, they'll stay stuck forever. If you truly want to change your life, you don't need to start with something massive. You just need to start today and not stop. This video will show you how to do exactly that, in a clear, practical, and sustainable way. So stick around. We're often told to find motivation, to stay inspired, and to wait until we feel ready before starting again. But the truth is, motivation is like the wind. It comes and goes without warning. You might feel fired up in the morning, but by afternoon, you're already making excuses. If you only take action when you're in the mood, then your life will forever be controlled by feelings instead of guided by purpose. That's why consistency is what truly makes the difference. When motivation falls asleep, it's consistency that gets you out of bed, that pulls you back to your commitments, that keeps you moving even when nobody's clapping or watching. We are sabotaging ourselves with the smallest excuses. Here's what's even more important. A lack of consistency doesn't just delay your goals, it slowly, quietly erodes who you are. And it does that in the sneakiest way possible, through small excuses that seem harmless. Ever told yourself, "I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow," or "skipping today won't make a difference"? They sound innocent, logical even, very human. But those tiny excuses are the seeds of your internal collapse. Every time you say, "It's fine to skip today," you're sending a message to your subconscious. My promises to myself don't matter. Every time you make an excuse, you're quietly building a dangerous habit, the habit of quitting. And the more you repeat it, the more your brain starts to believe. Commitment is just something we say, not something we do. That's how you slowly lose the most precious thing in any growth journey, your belief in yourself. Because how can you stay committed to big goals if, deep down, you don't even believe you'll follow through? How can you build true confidence if, in your heart, you always doubt your ability to keep your word? The real danger isn't in skipping one workout, one lesson, or one early morning. The real danger is that you start letting yourself slide. And you slide before you even realize it. One skipped day turns into 3. One break turns into a habit. You didn't stop because it got too hard. You stopped because you convinced yourself it was okay. But the truth is, it's not okay. Because every time you don't follow through, you're draining your internal power. And if you don't catch it early, that downward spiral becomes your default. Mindset shift. Resistance isn't the enemy, it's the door. There's something most people don't realize. That feeling of boredom, fatigue, or wanting to give up, It's not a signal to stop. It doesn't mean you're not meant for what you're doing, and it's definitely not a good excuse to delay. Resistance is actually where growth begins. We often mistakenly believe that when things get hard, that's our cue to rest. But the truth is the opposite. Every time you feel like quitting, it's the clearest sign that you're on the right path. Because if the path were easy, there'd be no growth. Every step forward requires discomfort, resistance, and getting out of your comfort zone. Think back to the moments in your life when you grew the most. Were they the times when everything felt easy? Or were they the times you felt lost, unsure, but kept moving anyway? It's in those moments, when you faced fear, fought procrastination, and took just one more step, that you became a better version of yourself. And that resistance, it's not your enemy, it's the door. It's the threshold you have to cross to access your next level. Most people hit resistance and stop, but consistent people hit resistance and say, "This is exactly where I need to push through." You don't need to do anything extraordinary, just push back one more time against that little voice in your head telling you to rest. One more step, one more rep, one more no to procrastination. Every time you overcome the urge to quit, you're not just checking off another task, you're training your mind to become stronger. Over time, this doesn't just help you go further in work, learning, or fitness, it becomes the foundation for your self-respect, your confidence, and your ability to lead your own life. So the next time you feel tired, unmotivated, or tempted to put things off, don't assume it's a sign to stop. Remember, the thing you need most may be waiting just on the other side of that resistance. And if you're consistent enough to push through, you won't be the same person anymore. You'll be stronger, clearer, and one step closer to becoming who you were meant to be. How to train consistency in real life. Consistency isn't some kind of natural gift. It's a skill you can train just like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Below are foundational principles that can completely transform your personal growth journey if you actually apply them. 1. Start small, so small you can't make excuses. The biggest mistake most people make is trying to change everything at once. But you don't need to work out for an hour every day. Just 10 minutes in the morning is enough. You don't need to write 1,000 words each night. Start with 200. You don't need to study for 3 hours straight. Try 15 minutes a day. Do something so small it feels impossible not to do. The key isn't how much you do, it's how often you do it. A tiny habit done consistently is more powerful than a big effort done inconsistently and then abandoned. 2. Design habits. Don't just rely on willpower. Consistency isn't about forcing yourself to try harder every single day. If you're constantly fighting your own resistance, you'll burn out fast. Instead, build positive behaviors into your routine so they become automatic. Prepare ahead. Place your book on your pillow if you want to read at night. Put your alarm far from your bed so you're forced to get up. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Don't give yourself time to think. Just do. The fewer obstacles in your way, the fewer excuses you'll have. 3. Attach new behaviors to existing habits. A smart way to stay consistent is to build habits by piggybacking them. That means attaching a new behavior to something you already do every day. For example, after you make your morning coffee, write down 3 things you want to accomplish. After brushing your teeth, read 1 page of a book. After shutting down your computer, jot down 1 lesson you learned today. This way, you don't have to create a brand new time slot in your day. You're simply using what's already there to build a behavior chain, something your brain finds easy to remember and maintain. 4. Create accountability and make it non-negotiable. If you want long-term consistency, you need more than motivation. You need a reason you can't talk yourself out of. Write your goal down, post it somewhere you'll see it every day. Share it with someone you trust. Make a promise you don't want to break. Better yet, tell someone what you're doing so they'll check in on you, remind you, and keep you accountable. Knowing that someone is expecting you to follow through creates a kind of positive pressure that keeps you on track, even on days when you want to fall off. 5. Track your progress and celebrate the small wins. Consistency doesn't mean you have to wait 6 months to see results. In reality, you need to feel like you're making progress now. Use whatever system works best for you, a habit tracker, a journal, an app, something that shows how many days you've followed through. Every day you follow through is like laying a brick in the foundation of the life you're building, and don't forget to reward yourself. Even something simple like treating yourself to a favorite coffee after 7 straight days of commitment can go a long way. Your brain will start associating consistency with joy, and you'll want to keep going. Naturally, not by force. My friends, the biggest breakthroughs always come from the smallest actions. Not all of us can change our lives overnight, but every single one of us has the power to change it if we stay consistent with just one small thing every day. You've probably heard the story of Thomas Edison, the man who failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. But what most people overlook is this: he didn't fail 1,000 times waiting for one big breakthrough. He showed up 1,000 times for small things, testing again, taking notes, making tiny improvements until that first light finally turned on. You've also seen athletes at the peak of glory holding up medals and smashing world records, but behind those fleeting moments were thousands of hours of painful, boring, lonely training. They didn't win because of the final sprint, they won because they didn't quit. The author who writes an inspiring best-selling book didn't sit down one night and write the perfect first chapter. They wrote in silence, edited for weeks, rewrote paragraphs endlessly, on days when no one even knew what they were doing. That's the difference. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's showing up consistently for the small, invisible things. And you have that within you. You don't need to be a genius, you don't need to start at the top, you just need to start today with one small action, and then tomorrow do it again, and one day you'll look back and say, I went farther than I ever thought I could. Do you agree with the ideas we shared in today's video? If you do, leave a number 9 in the comments so I know you're ready to become a more consistent version of yourself day by day. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with someone you care about, because this might be the spark they need to push through a hard season in their life. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the end. I truly want to hear your story. How are you working on building consistency? Where have you failed before? How did you overcome it? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to give us your feedback so we can keep creating content that's even more helpful, relevant, and real for you. See you in the next video. And remember, you might not be able to do it all today, but you can absolutely start right now.